a forgettable, from our standpoint, Wednesday night dash debut. We have IndyCar at Long Beach. We have NASCAR going to Martinsville, and a special event that we'll be hyping coming up on this week's episode of
Oh yeah.
iRacing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Flook.
I am Eric Richardson.
Did you forget about our announcement before I mentioned it?
No, I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be
uh,
fun
I
prepping for that.
I I just remember the struggles I had getting started. We'll just save that for later. You got to listen to hear. You got to listen to us talk for a while. So Wednesday night dash was it was a disaster for me. I just could not get going, and I just bolted. I dropped out of the race after like 4 laps. I got lapped like 6 minutes in. I'm just like, okay, I'm done for the night.
If it could have been a 20-minute race, I would have been happy.
On those GT3 races, and they have the GT3 Sprint Series in iRacing. They go to Le Mans for a 15-minute race. I'm like, what are you going to run? 3 laps? Like, what kind of why would you go to a 15-minute race at Le Mans? That seems I can't imagine that would be too terribly exciting.
That's where I need to start off at.
Man, that's have you driven Le Mans before?
Nope, I don't own that track yet.
I bought it a while back. Even though there's no official iRacing event anymore, it, it it's pretty wild. It's worth checking out. As I'm sporting my Shelby American shirt here tonight.
And
But
something
yes,
about road courses and turning right and braking, it does not fit well with me.
just Carol Shelby would have been very disappointed in me tonight. I'll just leave it at that. It's just that was one down. I would like to say it goes up from here, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen. I mean, this could be a bad season.
I kind of joked around last week of if it wasn't for being a co-owner of this league, I'd maybe not even run it.
I mean, I ran a whole like 8 minutes out of the 45 minutes tonight, and walked into the announcer's booth, and Eli and I, bantered for a while, and it was fun. We he was trying to say, "Oh, Mark's gonna be he's cruising." I'm like, "Shut up, Eli! Shut up, Eli! Don't curse him." Because oh man, and congratulations, Mark Vickers, man.
Finally got his first win.
He got his win, and he was awesome tonight. I mean, it was almost a flawless run. He did, and he said in his post race interview, almost ate it coming out of the pits. And I did happen to notice that, and it just he caught it and he went on, and he was hauling. So it's man, the biggest thing I think for me is when you have cold tires, cold brakes in that car, you have to be like super careful. And you saw Hunter Hughes go down at the end of lap one. He managed to rally back for a second place finish.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw that. I knew he was going to come back and
yeah, I
like
mean he was fast all night, and it just man he I think he doesn't do that. I think he and Mark have a pretty close finish. I mean, I think as
mhm.
long as Hunter stays clean, it's going to be him and Mark. And Tyler Vickery he was pushing the lead for a while and had a big wreck, and he ended up leaving the session early after his big wreck. And if he can stay clean as well, I mean, there's three right there that can compete for the title this season.
Yeah, the cold tires on these cars and really the baseline setups they're tough to run.
Yeah,
They're very touchy.
it's just I just don't know. I mean, I'm just now getting the hang of driving. Like I'm pretty good with the Indy cars, especially the Indy cars on the ovals. I'm not the fastest yet, but I'm not that far off. Especially when you go into the time attacks on Indy, I'm only a tenth of a second here, 2 tenths here. I'm I would say probably my strongest is the IR18. I'm pretty good with the trucks now. I'm getting better at the trucks. Next gen, I kind of had some aha moments late last season that I'm starting to get, but just I cannot for the life of me figure these GT3 cars out. And this is going to be a miserable next 7 races.
Yeah, I want to get into the GR86 and just do some of that racing. I think it's what, Class D series?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
Class D. They're 15-minute races just to get out and just get some road
or
course
even
racing.
go back to, if you want to go back to rookies, get into the Mazdas. Those, you learn
Yeah, the Mazdas are good too.
a lot about road racing from those Mazdas. And um it's just, yeah, I've spent so much time trying to figure out ovals and trying to, tire man. I mean, my biggest issue last season was tire management. I would compete and I would be up there and then I'd burn off my tires too quickly and then I'd fall way behind. And if I figured the tire management out, I think I would be pretty consistently involved week after week. So that's my big thing to work on the, the trucks, on the ARCA, on the Cup. But
Yeah, and as you see, I definitely have my niche tracks that I'm solid on, and then others I still need some work.
I was about to say, we picked Lime Rock Park because it's a free track. You don't have to buy it. It's a fun track, or it was a fun track until tonight. I changed my mind. I don't think it's fun anymore. But it's probably one of the better scenery tracks too to look at. They went and scanned that when it was just full lush green forest all around, which gives it a nice appeal when you're driving it too.
Yeah, there's definitely some tracks I'm not looking forward to coming up on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, Road Atlanta is going to be tough. VIR is probably, I'm dreading that week.
I'm actually not too opposed to the Road Atlanta. We were doing some driving on there already. We were looking at the Petite Le Mans
Oh
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
being able to run.
I have to say, when I was in the booth tonight, Mark was coming up to lap you at one point. I saw him flashing his headlights at you, and I'm just like, I wonder if that triggered any kind of
I didn't even see it. I knew it
let's
was
say,
coming. I'm like, I'm getting out of the way.
I was about to say, you see a car coming behind you, flashing its lights, and a couple times it's had bad results, but
On
he
our
ended
stream, I joked about that Mid Ohio
up
punting I got
getting.
and giving somebody a new set of pants.
I made a gif of that is forever enshrined as a gif. So it's iconic at this point. It, I saved it as a clip on our Twitch stream. You can go back and actually go to our clips. It's in there, and it's me, and we're wrapping up. We're 15 minutes away from ending this 3-hour session. I'm saying, hey, thanks for tuning in. We saw people popping in and out all morning, and then off the track you go, and you get airborne. Ends up being our crash of the week reel. Turns around, it does like 30,000 views.
Yeah, we need something like that again.
Yeah, you got the Dukes of Hazard theme. We've had there are 2 reels that have exceeded 30,000 views. One of them was my You Spin Me Round IndyCar test, when we could still call it IndyCar, coming out of 4, and I popped the wall, and I brushed the wall, and I go and hit the inside wall coming out of 4 at Indianapolis. It just, and it's, you get the flow right out at the You Spin Me Right round, and that one blew up too. And it's just like, man, kind of a few more of those. That'll get us really moving. But
Yeah, you got something to figure out there. They've changed the algorithms again, and
yeah, they did. Once it's almost like once you start figuring out patterns, they change it on purpose, and it's just like, man, we got this one this week up over 1,000. I was like, hey, that's pretty good. Yeah, people have been complaining about their reels where they're getting 10-15,000 views, and now they're lucky if they break 1,000. So yeah, we got some
they've
work to do.
changed something.
Yeah, they did. It's like these consultants, they start to figure out what Instagram's doing, and then they change it on them. It's just like Google with SEO. Once people start figuring out the formula to SEO, Google changes it, and so on.
It's
So,
too bad.
I mean, I get it, because one, you figure things out, you make your minor improvements, but also two, people, they go against, these consultants, they go against the spirit of SEO, and they figure out ways to cheat and get irrelevant blog posts to trend to the, and irrelevant web pages to trend to the top of a search, because they figured out, little loopholes here and there. And it's, again, not within the spirit of SEO, but it is what it is. So after your technical lesson on social media and SEO, which was not expected, NASCAR went back to Martinsville. I think Ross Chastain did something at Martinsville last year. They didn't mention that though on the broadcast, did they?
They put the Indy race and NASCAR at basically the exact same time. Well, 30-minute stagger.
Yep.
NASCAR started first. So I watched, and then I switched and I focused a lot on Indy.
All right. I saw this video on YouTube today, and there's been more. I've noticed this too on social media. There's been more and more criticism of Fox's broadcast going downhill. And you see anything from, Clint Boyer adds nothing to the booth. The rotating third analyst doesn't typically work, with a few exceptions. I mean, I think Tony Stewart was good. I like Kurt Busch in there. When they did Kurt Busch and Gunther Steiner and Chase Elliott, I thought that was a little too crowded. And then there's some people saying, okay, Mike Joy, he's a legend. Nothing but respect, but his time has passed, and it's just like, maybe. I mean, I like Mike Joy. I enjoy listening to him talk. He's very knowledgeable. He's been around for a very long time. But does Fox need to shake up the booth? I mean, I think Harvick would be a good addition.
Then who was it? Justin Haley was also the 2009 F1 World Champion.
No, it was JJ Yeley.
That's it.
Yeah, they forgot to update. They forgot to update. Yeah, sorry, Jensen Button. JJ Yeley is now the 2009 Formula One World Champion. Impressive! Congratulations, JJ. That's a tremendous honor to be retroactively, given the Formula One World Championship, and I'm gonna bet money he's probably never stepped foot in a Formula One car.
Yeah, the broadcast, it's not what it used to be.
I mean, and the thing is, you still have Larry McReynolds, who, like, I think he's in a booth in Charlotte. I don't think he's actually at the track.
It's him and Jamie McMurray usually.
Yeah, they're in like a studio in Charlotte, where they do like the pre-race, and then he goes to his little booth, and he has like 20 cameras on his wall. And he lost Darrell Waltrip, who, I think he's kind of a polarizing figure. I think more people love him than hate him, but there was some fair share of his commentary over the years, whether it was, his favoritism towards his brother, or there's a lot of people that didn't really care for the boogity boogity boogity, let's go racing, boys.
It did bring a certain level of excitement.
It did.
It was great. They do that, turn the mics off and crank it up.
Yes. The big argument too that they've thrown out with that is NASCAR and Fox seem like it's become kind of this casual chat. And IndyCar, Formula One, it's a lot more intense as far as the commentary, especially Formula One. You have Lee Diffie for IndyCar, you have David Croft over on Formula One. They're both very energetic, and they get pumped up when there's a big move, and they really can, you got a big moment in a race, and they really, Lewis Hamilton last year in England had that double pass, that double overtake, where it was who was it? It was Alonso and Charles Leclerc, maybe Charles Leclerc,
I
and
don't
they're
remember that
fighting it,
off.
and then Hamilton goes right past him. You know, you're gonna go the through goes Hamilton. I mean, it was a, you know, it's an impressive move, but his call on that just elevated it to the next level. Like that made it so good. And they're like, oh, it's the overtake of the year. Like, I don't know if that was the overtake of the year, but it was the overtake of the year because the commentary made it the overtake of the year, which is, you know, both good and bad. I mean, you know, when you have an announcer who's really into it, yeah, there's a very fine line between, okay, this is too intense versus this guy showing a lot of passion and I feel part of the action.
Well,
And I
that's kind of
think
what it was with Indy this past weekend. That final pit stop with the undertake and overtake, and where are they going to come out? That it was fun watching and listening
I
because
think
it did
Indy's
give a
got a
sense of
good
drama
booth.
to it.
I think Indy has a good booth. You know, with Townsend Bell and James Hinchcliffe. I think they both, you know, they're both former drivers. You know, Hinchcliffe is very, very popular, was very popular in the series as a driver,
Mhm.
had a near death experience in an accident. Like apparently it was like seconds away from bleeding to death. But I think all three, you know, the three of them in that booth, I think are really good together.
Yeah, they work well.
They work very well off of each other. And even, you know, Lee Diffie missed out at least once last year, and Kevin Lee filled in for, you know, doing the commentary. And I thought he was really good too. I think, you know, having a good backup when you need them is, you know, it was good. I thought he did a phenomenal job filling in. I think it was in Toronto last year, if I remember right, on the only broadcasted on Peacock race, which, yeah.
No, please don't.
Wait, for Indy month, $4.99 for the entire month with all the practice and carb day and qualification and testing.
Yeah, that's good.
There's a lot of content for $5. I tell you, I have no affiliation with Peacock, but $5 is a lot of entertainment in the month of May.
Yeah, I'm good with all the extra stuff on Peacock, but when it comes time to race, please put it on NBC.
Or USA, or, you know, or a station
One
that
of
people
the
have,
family of networks.
or CNBC for that matter. Have you noticed CNBC has been showing sports on like Saturday afternoons?
I haven't even paid attention to it
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I forget what it was, but I tuned in. They were showing some sporting event. I mean, I know like with the Premier Leagues with soccer, they will show like Saturday morning because it's like, what else are you gonna do? You know, the markets are closed. You're gonna do paid programming? No, you're gonna show a English soccer game on CNBC because I mean the channel's there. It's in any home that has cable or a streaming service. You might as well use it. Stop with the streaming.
So we talked about the Fox broadcast. What do you think of the race?
I didn't. I watched the last part of it, thinking it'd be exciting because the first couple stages, the last few races have not been too terribly exciting. So I watched more Long Beach than anything. I watched probably the last 50 laps of Martinsville, and I was like, okay.
That was pretty much the whole race. You didn't miss much.
It's like, Joey Logano.
It seemed like every time I flipped back over, as I watched the whole Indy race, and at commercials, I would check in. It seemed like new leader every time I came in. Chastain was almost a lap down at the end of stage one. Then I turn over and how is he leading?
Yeah, Logano went from like 23rd to first or something like that at one point. And it's just like, how
So
did
a
that
lot of pit
happen?
strategy. I
Yeah,
guess there wasn't much tire fall off. I was expecting a
helps.
caution at the end, and
No
nope.
more wall rides. Yeah, oh, man. And then the truck race on Friday night. They finally called the race at like 11:48 p.m. Eastern
That
time.
was so late. I was
Uh,
watching.
I was just like, yeah, and yeah, they ran with the wet tires, or I don't know what NASCAR is calling them, the rain package tire. What are they calling them?
Um, I think I kind of heard like wet tires, rain tires. If it's actively raining, they're not running.
Right.
But
It's
if
just
it's just the rain
damp.
has stopped, the track is wet, all right, put the wet tires on, we're going.
That's fine.
Then
It's
that'll dry it out
less rain
faster.
delay. Yeah, less rain delay time, the better. We don't have a risk of a Juan Pablo Montoya taking out the jet dryer.
Or the Daytona race where the front half of the field
That
gets into
happened
turn one and
that happened at New Hampshire too. The one year where they it was like raining in turn two, but nowhere else on the track, and you just see all these cars spinning out. Or I don't remember if it's turn two, but like one part of the track is raining and the other parts are completely dry. I want to give real quick a shout out to Santan Brewing Company. It's my local brewery here. Baja Jack. It's their summer special. It's a salted lime lager. It's really, really good. It's like a margarita and a beer.
on my drink tonight is actually from Copper Still in Indiana. It's a chocolate peanut butter whiskey.
Copper still. That's interesting. Yeah, we keep trying all these liquors, and it's like, hey, how you doing, everybody? Come party with us. Anyway,
They're out of Roanoke, Indiana.
where's Roanoke, Indiana?
Just a little southwest of Fort Wayne. I
Oh,
drive
yeah,
through on
yeah,
my
yeah.
I drive through there on my way home.
That's right.
Like,
I was just like, that sounds familiar, but I haven't lived in. Can you believe? Well, you moved out around the same time. We've left Indiana
that was 2008.
2008, so it's been 15 years that I left. So we went to the 500 in 2008. I finished up summer school and I was gone in August. And when
I
did
left
you
in
leave?
August as well.
Yeah, so we were both gone in August of 2008, and yeah, it's wild. It's been 15 years already, but it
Yeah, goes quick.
sucks.
And I told you how old we are just a few days ago.
Yeah, 40 is coming soon. Uh,
20-year high school
oh
reunion.
God. Yeah,
I don't feel that old. I'm younger than that. It's all lies.
I see. Yeah, I see people like, there's no way we're that old. Yes, yes, we are.
Yes.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah, I still get
Uh,
people asking if I'm going to school. So hey, I'll take it.
yeah,
I'll take early
uh,
20s.
you know what? I actually I have a couple gray hairs popping in on the side here, and I will not accept that. I grab the tweezer and I pull out. I'm like, no, I am 37. I do not need gray hair yet. The children are probably the reason why, but yeah, it's just, man, it's unbelievable. It's been 20 years already, but yeah, I'm not going.
No. And
I'm not
hey,
flying to
everybody,
Indy.
I'll be right here.
Hey, you know what? You put us up on the big screen. We'll do a Garage Talk live stream at the put us up on the big board, and we'll say hi. I don't remember you. I don't never talk to you. I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. Who cares? Bye. Thanks for coming.
I don't know what day it is, but I'm pretty sure I'm busy that day.
And if I'm not, I can find a reason to be.
If you do know us and we went to school with you, drop us a line. Be more than happy to say hi that way.
Yeah.
Probably will not see me in person.
Nope.
No
I will
offense to
not.
anybody, just
Yeah.
not my cup of tea.
Yeah. I was just whatever.
And it's gonna be pulling teeth to get me to go to any graduations. So a reunion, not much better.
No. Not doing it. Sorry. Nope.
Yeah, speaking of that, I skipped my own college graduation. So
yeah, my graduation, I graduated after summer school, and which was fun. It was both good and bad because, when you go to a large university like Purdue, they have different sessions for the graduation because, you have way too many graduates. So they break it up into like 5 or 6 sessions or something. But in summer school, there's just one session because there's just, and the only thing I remember from it is there were so many PhD graduates who graduated at the end of summer school that year. And it's like, Dr. blah, 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 Dr. blah, 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 Dr. blah, blah, blah. And they'd always preface everybody, they got their PhD. So they're doctor. It's like Dr. blah, 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 Dr. Robert Smith, Dr. Tina Jones, Dr. blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, we got 30 more doctors just to spew out here. And then finally I got my diploma and opened it up and like, I really did get this. Holy crap.
Maybe if we do another endurance race where we're just kind of chatting, I can go on my rant about why do we call all sorts of people doctors, even if they're not a doctor, but they're a doctor.
Doctor.
I'll go
Although,
on
if
that rant
you know
later.
what,
I'll save
if
that.
somebody ever gave me an honorary PhD, I would absolutely be calling myself doctor because that's the only way I'm gonna ever have a PhD in anything. I barely survived undergrad. I'm not going back to school. Are you kidding me? No. I mean, I find out with like the public school system, it's like there's all this homework for the kids now, and it's like, oh, you're going to be expected to like do this with your kids. I'm like, no, I suffered on my own. My kids will do the same. No.
We will teach our kids the proper ways of the
My,
90s.
this has completely gone off the rails here, but so my kids,
What else is new?
yeah, this is more than usual. So my kids are going to a school that does what they call dual immersion. So half the day will be taught in English. The second half of the day will be taught in Spanish. And they teach math in Spanish.
Oh,
And I'm just like, math is hard enough in English for kids.
I failed it in English. I can only imagine doing another language.
I mean, let's just
it might make more sense, honestly.
Let's be honest. We were in the same English class our senior year, and I vividly recall a moment. The only moment, there's two moments I remember from English class senior year. One is we watched the Seinfeld Soup Nazi episode for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, I remember why, because we read an article in the New Yorker about the actual guy who that was about, and then we watched the episode of the Soup Nazi.
Don't you have his autograph?
My dad does. I got that for him as a birthday gift the one year. The guy from Seinfeld who played the Soup Nazi, not the actual soup guy.
Yeah,
who did not like he did not like that attention at all, and he's like, I am known for the soup, not that clown. Yeah, he was really upset about that episode, especially when people are calling him the Soup Nazi. I could understand, having Nazi associated with your nickname. I could see why you'd be upset about that. But the second moment was, I remember the teacher said something to you that you did not particularly care for. And I remember very vividly, you in the back of the classroom, she turns around, you stand up, double middle finger to the English teacher, and then sit right back down.
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that, or you don't want to admit that?
No, I don't recall that one. I do remember, and I'm not a politically correct person by any means, and I am not cultured, but I do remember, I think I looked over at you and I'm like, what is a vase?
A vase, yes. I remember that. Yeah.
We're in high school. Look, it's a vase.
Okay, so this has now been 20 plus years since we were in this class. It's been 20 plus years now. And I remember I was in like the second row. I think we were in like alphabetical order in this class.
Yeah, and we were like 3 rows back from the front.
So I'm in like kind of towards the front of the second row. You're kind of in the back of like the fourth or fifth row. And this teacher's like, yes, they have a new vase. And I look back at you and you look over and you're like,
like, come on, we're in high school.
A vase.
I'm not cultured enough to buy a vase. I mean, I'll never buy one of those.
Yeah, I don't like whatever. I the only vase I own came from 1-800-flowers.com. Who is not a sponsor of this show, but should be. Trust me, I owe probably about with all this stuff with you didn't hear because I wasn't on the stream, but part of the reason why I bailed on it is it was not going well next door with my kids. My wife was trying to break up fights and they were screaming and yelling, and one of the kids got hurt, and it's just like, man, well, I owe some flowers. So 1-800-flowers, please sponsor us so I can just keep sending flowers for every time this happens.
I pretty much should do that every night I race.
On that note, speaking of significant others,
yeah, we got something fun brewing.
So
don't worry, we're not racing at Phoenix.
No,
it's not that.
No. So I had a discussion with my wife. She wants to help out and help promote our content. She's a marketing background, and she's like, I don't understand this. She's like, I never owned a video game system as a kid. Her brother had a Sega Genesis and all that. She never played it. she's like, I don't understand the first thing about driving a race car of any kind. And I said, well, I mean, the easiest way to learn something is go out there and do it. So I will set up a session. You come over here. I'll get this all set up for you. We'll put you out in a car and say, okay, have at it.
I
And
keep
I'll help.
asking, offering to my wife too, but she hasn't done it
And,
yet.
and I said, get out there, drive some laps. We'll learn, practice a few times. And then I said, I was thinking a little later and I just start laughing. I'm like, I've got a really, really horrible idea. And for this to work, we need Eric, your wife, to participate.
Man, she's on board. I
And she's,
remember I
I,
was
we
on
were
a
on,
Zoom with you, and
we were on
then
a,
like,
yes,
hey, DJ's got something to tell you.
we were on a Zoom. We were doing one of our periodic, like random, catch up meetings. And she came home and I said, let me pitch this to her, because if she gets upset or thinks this is a really terrible idea, she can be upset at me. That way, I take the heat off of you. So she comes up, stands right behind you. You hand her the headset. And I said, okay. So my wife wants to get involved in this. I don't think they've even actually talked to each other before, our wives.
No, unfortunately, we haven't been able
Like,
to meet
no,
yet.
we no, they haven't. Like, I've talked to your wife, you've talked to my wife on multiple occasions, but they have never actually spoken to each other before. So I said, okay. So I got this idea. I've got my wife reluctantly on board. We're going to take 30 days. Eric will coach. You'll coach your wife. I will coach mine. And we're going to put them in a next gen car, which is probably a bad idea. And we decided we're going to do a Las Vegas at night race, and we're going to do a Wednesday night dash rules, where we're going to do the 10-minute practice, 5-minute 2-lap qualification. We're going to do a 45-minute race, whatever the lap counts be. 70 laps, I think, is the Vegas standard. So we'll do 70 laps. Maybe we'll shorten it to 60 just to be safe. Competition caution halfway. 2 of you race 1-on-1. May the best rookie win. Which we have coined the FR Racing's Significant Other Challenge. And she looked at me and she's like, I don't have to be on the stream, do I? And I said, no, absolutely not. However, I will be on my backup computer over here, which has a iRacing account in a setup here, not as good as my main computer here. And I'm going to be broadcasting the race with my wife sitting, 6 feet away, right behind me, driving. And Eric, we're going to have to screen share on Discord or something so you can see it, live
Yep.
in
I was gonna
person.
say we'll have to figure out how I can
I think,
watch and
yeah, I think the best way to do this is I screen share on Discord, and Eric and I will call the race. And if I laugh too much, I might have to hire a divorce lawyer.
I'll have
So
to figure everything out as I have all this set up on my racing computer, but if that's all occupied, my laptop, it needs to be thrown out of a 10-story building. So we'll figure it
yeah,
out.
so we'll get up there and I'll put it on Discord. I'll screen share from my secondary account, and I'll broadcast the race. We'll call it. We'll see how the 2 of them do. And neither of them, we haven't started practicing yet. I think today will be Friday, will be day 1. And we've got 30 days. I don't know what 30 days is from Friday, but we do
No,
like
what would that line up? What do we do Wednesday night or Friday night?
we should do it Friday night.
So like May 19th,
That sounds
May
okay.
26th, Memorial Weekend, somewhere in there.
Ooh, let's do Memorial Day weekend. Let's do it Saturday night, because Sunday we're going to be doing some kind of Garage Talk Live race day for Indy for sure. Probably
May have to
Monaco.
see. We may be out of town on Saturday. I'm not sure.
I thought maybe we do the 19th then.
19th, 20th, 26th. I think she has school. One of those days, somewhere around that time frame,
But we'll figure out the date. We're gonna stream it. We haven't decided if we're gonna put it on our stream or if we're gonna make this a whole Stadium Scene event. Put it on Stadium Scene TV.
This is something that this goes well, we may look at growing it and
Yeah, I
partner
think
up
so too. Like,
with in the future.
I mean, so many. I mean, this is such a male dominated. Racing is male dominated. Esports slash gaming is male dominated, and unfortunately, the few women who do participate just take a lot of harassment, literal harassment, that they don't want to
Yep.
come back. And I think the big thing we want to do here is that we want to create a fun environment to introduce women to this. And we'll start with our wives. And if and here's the other thing too, if there is a woman out there whose husband doesn't do, okay, you're the significant other. That's why we call it the significant other, not the wives challenge. So if there's a woman out there whose husband doesn't do it, by all means. Like, the whole point of this is your spouse, your significant other does not participate in iRacing. You come in and race against a bunch of others who don't participate in iRacing, and let's see how it goes, because it might not go so well, but it's all right. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll show just it does take a little bit of work to get ready every week and to learn these tracks and cars. That's why
Yes.
I'm sure this week RFK is in the simulators.
Fake cars, real racing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for this. I don't know how it's going to go. I think Las Vegas is a good track. It's not too big. It's not complicated. Especially for the first time out. I know I struggled really badly. So putting it in a track like Las Vegas, where you can, especially early in a run, largely just ride your throttle. And early, I mean, you burn tires up. I mean, you could early on in the run, once your tires warm up, you can go full throttle through most of the corners. Just by the end of that run, that those tires may not be
Existing.
Yeah, your front right might be. Who was that? Was it Tyler that his tire was down to like 12% or something?
Yeah, is that Phoenix?
Yeah,
He's completely burned through that thing.
Oh man, if that was real life, yeah, he would have had a flat, that for sure, but it's not. So
shout outs, Kyle Larson took home the grandfather clock at Martinsville.
Yes, and
Kyle Kirkwood bringing home the W at Long Beach.
And I watched the truck race, and I don't even remember who.
Nemechek.
That's right. Or yeah, John Hunter won the Xfinity. Nice kid, by the way. Very nice kid. Corey Heim won the truck race. And yeah.
That's right. Heim was trucks.
Yeah, we met John Hunter at Phoenix a couple weeks ago. I mean, he's like 24. His dad, front row Joe Nemechek. Whenever I think of Joe Nemechek, you think late 90s, and you think that blue and yellow Bell South car. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Joe Nemechek.
Yep.
And like I've said this before, but this person in front of me was an older guy. He's going through the autograph line. He says to John Hunter, he goes, "Hey, I'm a big fan of your dad's. I really enjoyed watching your dad race years ago, and it's cool to see that you've come in and you've done extremely well for yourself too." And you can see he was really proud of that. So proud to hear that someone shouting out his dad. So not he was a really good driver. He's not legendary status, but we'll have to talk next time about the drivers announced in the top 75. Some interesting choices have been announced so far. I mean, Tony Stewart was a no-brainer. That if he wasn't on there, that would have been a crime.
Yeah, there's some good selections, and we'll save it for another time.
I mean, the big thing is with the 50th anniversary, the Truck Series was only like 2 years old at that point, and the Busch Series at that point wasn't that old. So with the 75, you see Busch drivers / Xfinity drivers, you see truck drivers that are going to get
modified driver picked in there.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so I I'm good with that. This is the NASCAR top 75. This is not the Cup Series top 75. So although Casey Kane, I mean, he was a good driver in a stacked era, but
Since they're dipping into other series, I'm interested to see if anybody gets left out.
I mean, 25 drivers is a lot. Obviously you're going to see Jimmy Johnson's going to get listed in there. You're going to see probably both of the Busch brothers in there. You have to think Carl Edwards. If Casey Kane got in, Carl Edwards has got to get in there too.
Mm-hmm.
But who else?
Ron Hornaday should be in there.
Ron Hornaday should be in there for sure.
If Jack Sprague should
Jack
be able to
Sprague. I mean, if you're going to go off of championships and other series, like you could argue Matt Crafton belongs in that list too. He's won 3 Truck Series titles, which is not the easiest thing to do. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how that list plays out. But there are. I mean, obviously Casey Kane was very popular. You probably expect Dale Jr. is going to end up in there. But Casey Kane was a popular driver, and there were a lot of people that were very for him. There were a lot of people that were shocked, both good and bad. And there are people like, no way is this guy one of the 25 best drivers, not in the top 50.
I was kind of surprised to see Kyle Larson jump in already.
Oh, did they announce him?
Yeah, he last week maybe.
No kidding. I didn't even see that. How about that? NASCAR. No, that's him. Ryan Newman got in.
Yep, that was today, I believe.
Yes, 6 hours ago. Ryan Newman. You know what? Shout out to Ryan Newman. Indiana native one, but also
out of South Bend.
Purdue graduate too.
Yep. Sterling Marlin got in.
Good for him.
And Greg Biffle, Randy LaJoy.
I like the pick of Randy LaJoy. That was not expected, but I'm good with that. I mean, he was, like everyone again, Cup Series. What, he was probably the best Busch Series driver of the last 30 years. One of the best. It's interesting Larson got in because it's just, I mean, with Ganassi, he was okay. I mean, he goes to Hendrick and he takes off at Hendrick, which then again, there's been drivers that have come into Hendrick and have not taken off. So, I mean, it's not an automatic like, you're in a Hendrick car, you're going to be winning championships in 20 races a year. So I guess I see that. So, I mean, Chase Elliott gets in too.
Yeah, that's where I question some things. I'm interested to see the final list on 25.
I mean, looking, it's a no-brainer, and you could see that like it was destined for greatness. But I mean, Jeff Gordon got into the top 50. He was only into his 5th Cup season at that point. He had won 2 championships. He won a 3rd one, I think, in '98.
Yeah, he was 5 full seasons in.
He was 5. He was 5 full seasons in, and won 3 championships. So it's like, okay, this guy's pretty darn good, and one of the greats. But still, I mean, a guy top 50 all time in the 50 years of NASCAR, and he's only in his 5th season. That seems so long ago.
Harvick, Truex, Logano, Hamlin. Where are those guys?
Logano needs to be in there for sure. That guy does not get enough credit. I mean, he took a lot of crap coming in as a 17-year-old or whatever he was, 18 years old, as this punk kid who didn't deserve to be here. But, and then other people, this guy's a phenom. And, most of the time when you say phenom, they fizzle out and they don't. But I mean, he's won 2 championships.
It'll be fun to keep track of that.
So I don't know. I mean, we've you got Jimmy's a lock, probably the Busch brothers, Carl Edwards, Dale Jr. There's 5 more. There's 5 been named, 6 been named so far, so that's 11. So that'd be, they'd have to come up with 14 more.
They'll get it.
I don't know. I mean, that's the problem is anytime you make a list of anything where it's subjective, someone's always going to complain. Like you see these people put up, oh, these are my top 10 teams in blah, 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 in the NBA. And it's like,
I
I mean,
wholly
it's
agree with how
subjective.
Richard Petty answered the question. I was watching a pre-race show.
Yep.
And they asked him, who's the best driver? You got you, Dale, and Jimmy, all 7 championships. And he goes, it was all in different eras.
Mm-hmm.
They were the greatest of their era.
Yes. Yeah, and you can't compare. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, you have Babe Ruth playing in Major League Baseball today. The guy wouldn't last a week, probably. He's a fat dude who drank beer, smoked cigars, and ate hot dogs. Like, you think that would have worked well in today's Major League Baseball?
Maybe as a pitcher. Yeah, who was it? David Wells
David
threw a game
Wells.
over threw a
Yeah.
perfect game or something. Or
I
no
think
hitter.
was
It
there
was
another
something.
there was another pitcher who I feel like I read somewhere where he said he pitched on LSD.
I feel like somebody did.
I mean, I think half the pitchers in the 70s were probably pitching high on LSD.
Then we still have another week to wait for Formula
Oh,
One to get
so
going
in
again.
1970, Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher Doc Ellis threw a no-hitter high on acid.
Kids nowadays are like, why do I get in trouble for doing drugs? They were
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
that in the
Doc
big
Ellis
leagues.
his LSD fueled no-hitter against the San Diego Padres.
Hey, probably saw 5 strike zones, but it worked.
on a final note here with baseball. So, the San Diego Padres were briefly owned by the late Ray Kroc, the founder, quote unquote, founder of the McDonald's Corporation. And there is a rule in Major League Baseball today that was implemented because of Ray Kroc. And if you ever see The Founder, great movie, Michael Keaton, phenomenal movie, love it. But Ray Kroc, he owned the Padres, and they made it to the World Series in 1984, beating the Cubs. And he had just died not that long ago, and it was for Ray. But anyway, so Ray Kroc bought the team, have a big marketing, come on out, Jack Murphy Stadium, and the Padres just play like crap. And late in the game, Ray Kroc storms up to the announcer's booth, into the PA booth rather, grabs the microphone and starts like berating his players over the PA system during the game. And like, you're embarrassing, and all these people came out here to watch you, and you're playing like garbage. And after that, Major League Baseball implemented a rule that the ownership and management are not allowed to touch the PA system during a game.
Nice call.
On that note, we're back next week. Road Atlanta. It'll be a disaster, probably for me.
Behind closed doors will be back as well on Tuesday at New Hampshire.
Yes, indeed. And May 9th, Indianapolis, I believe.
Yep.
I'm planning on running that. So I will make my lone appearance of the season there. And
your BCD debut.
And hopefully I don't crash the going into turn 1, lap 1 this time.
If you start on a pole, I think we're gonna penalize you or start
I'll have to start
100 yards back.
Change the engine, put me in the gotta drop to the rear. I still don't know how I walked out of there with a pole that night. I'm just like, I mean, I had a great time. It was like a 39.6 or something like that. I'm like, that's a good qualifying time in with a fixed iRacing setup. And
with some of these changes, me and Indy are not getting along.
It's
a hard enough track as it is.
Yeah. And if you go in cold tires turn 1 and you dip below the line,
see ya.
bye, which is what I did. But it was just funny too. Everybody just laughing on the radio. It's just like, I can't believe I did that.
I pretty much got through. I would have been home free, but
Wouldn't have been.
we also took like 10 laps to get everybody back onto the same lap, and it was hilarious. The joy of our recruiting races.
Yep. And fun story. Hunter Hughes admitted that he messed up his fuel strategy, or he pulled the way too close again, and he ran out of fuel 50 feet from his box and had to coast in. That we did not catch on the broadcast. I did note, I'm like, he's got to be running on fumes at this point. But anyway, frracingonline.com, at frracingonline. Tune in to Eric's stream on Twitch. Are we going to do a live this weekend for Bahrain? Sunday morning?
Yeah, plan on it.
7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific. Okay.
Yeah, have fun. I'll probably be awake already.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the beer will be exchanged for coffee this week. But
We'll do player one.
Get some player one coffee, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Pacific time, Bahrain. We'll see you Sunday morning.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.